Now, after almost a decade, France and its European partners are to withdraw their troops from Mali. President Emmanuel Macron made the announcement following a meeting of European and African leaders at the Elysee Palace. The pullout will be done over a 4 to 6 month period in coordination with the Malian military. France first deployed troops against jihadists in the country in 2013, and while successful in stemming the extremists' advance, in recent years militant groups have taken over swathes of territory in the former French colony.
France intervened in Mali, firstly to fight against terrorism, second at the request of a sovereign state and the states of the region. In this second condition, that is changing today, and victory in the face of terrorism. It is not possible if it is not supported by the state itself. And why did we decide today to leave? Because the junta, which is in charge of Mali, no longer makes it its priority.
Well, for more on what the implications of this withdrawal could be, let's bring in security expert Declan Powell now. Declan, good to have you with us this evening. To begin with, it appears to be a somewhat hasty exit. What could the implications be for anti-terror operations in the region?
Well, I think that the standard operational footprint of Western forces there will initially be unaffected. But in the long term, a country like France has a huge amount to contribute, not just to the visuals that you see of French troops on patrol, but in what will be known as over-the-horizon support in terms of intelligence, in terms of logistics, and other things that are essential to the long-term running of such a mission. And it remains to be seen if they will still be engaged in that. As I understand it, they're still going to stay in the Sahel region. So they probably will still be able to provide some assistance to the UN mission that will still be there. I think perhaps it may be a clever move for France in the long term, as they're in an antagonistic relationship at the moment with the Malian regime. They don't want to be seen, I suppose, to be propping up a military junta that seized power in a coup. And also, France was increasingly becoming a target for, I suppose, mismanaged West African expectations in many respects. And this gives them a chance, gives French foreign policy a chance to regroup and reignite its relationship with that part of Africa on a more positive footing, because it has been deteriorating at a diplomatic level in a negative way for some years now.
A difficult relationship, as you say there, with the regime. But what about the people that they leave behind? What about the region? I mean, is there the risk that the withdrawal could actually give ground to terror groups which have already killed thousands, left millions of people displaced in the region?
Well, some cynics would say that during the period they've been there, that attacks have continued, that the much expected stability that the French-led mission was supposed to bring didn't work. So could things be any worse? There is a possibility, if you were to apply a little bit of counterintuitive thinking, that by the French pulling out, that it might calm the situation a little bit in allowing the other Western forces there, the UN mission in particular, maybe enhance their footprint. There is still, there will be still a number of other troops there, including a German battle group, of which some of my own countrymen are serving in a small special forces component. And it would maybe allow us to see how the Malian forces themselves will cope. I mean, a big part of the Western contribution, including the EU contribution, was to train up Malian forces to be able to take the fight to the rebels and to be able to stabilize their own country. If that isn't proven to be the case, then it argues for maybe a reconfigured, maybe French-led or French participated in force going back in. But at the moment, I don't think it can necessarily do any harm in the long term for France's policies. I think it gives them a chance to regroup and reinvent the relationship, because things are in a sort of a stalemate, and the French forces on the ground were increasingly becoming targets. So again, you could argue that they were part of an inflammatory process there at the moment.